Welcome to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. This podcast features powerful hypnosis, so do not listen while driving or operating machinery. This recording is not suitable for those with epilepsy or severe mental health issues. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, it's Adam here, and in this episode of The Hypnotist, you're going to be listening to a hypnosis session created for a client that had very high levels of anxiety when they were on their own. And that was the key determining factor. It wasn't the part of the world that they were living in, and it wasn't the actual likelihood or probability of danger. It was whether or not they were evaluating that they were on their own. And for example, if they believed that they were on their own, but let's say that their partner left just as they fell asleep and returned just as they would have woken up, and they had no idea that they were alone, their anxiety levels would have been low because they made the evaluation, they had the belief that they were with someone. So what you're going to hear in this particular hypnosis session is an element of regression and actually regressing to a point in time where they didn't have this level of fear. They used to travel when they were younger. So there is an element of harnessing those neural pathways of feeling confident even when being alone. But also what you're going to hear is that if the evaluation is that it's the being alone element that makes them feel less resourceful, there is a way of incrementally compounding the resources step by step so that they don't feel alone and that they feel that they've got way more resources than they would do even if they had less resources but they had someone else with them. And this is a way of giving them a new belief system, and that belief system is that they are safe because they are accessing resources that they don't need, they just have them should they have a need for them. And a good example of that is an alarm system. Most people don't have an alarm system because they feel like they're going to be burgled or a home invasion. It's just that if there is a very slim likelihood of that happening, either the alarm system itself becomes the deterrent, or if they are a victim, having some kind of sensor or panic button means that help is going to find its way to them quicker. Even if the probability is low, that becomes what I call Dumbo's feather. If you've seen the Disney movie Dumbo, the Dumbo character has a black feather that he took from the crow, and that's linked to the belief system that they can fly. Now, of course, the crow knows that it has nothing to do with the feather, but that's the placebo effect, that if you have a belief linked to something, it tends to be a stronger belief than it's linked to nothing. So if you link this idea of safety to a locked door, or the fact that you're in a safe neighborhood, or the fact that you are in a part of the world with low crime, or that you have a working mobile phone that you can call for help if needed, and you build that up incrementally, it can give you a sense of feeling almost invincible. And with that invincibility is going to lead to strong feelings of confidence and comfort, and therefore good quality sleep. So this was created for an individual that had a fear of being alone, particularly at night time. And I would say this could be useful if you're in a similar situation, or if you just want to feel more useful or more resourceful perhaps when traveling or in situations that some people feel anxious around. If you feel like a customized session might be useful, feel free to click the link in the show notes where you can book a free 30-minute consultation call to explore working with me. And currently I'm traveling, so the sound quality on this particular podcast isn't as good as when I'm in my usual recording studio, and that's the nature of doing what I do. Sometimes I'm on a portable microphone and a laptop rather than a fully kitted out recording studio, as is the case for this session. So bear that in mind when you listen to this recording. But to get the best out of this session, I would say think of the area of your life where you would want more confidence or self-assurance. Find a quiet, comfortable place where you won't be disturbed, relax, and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in. As you breathe in a resourceful feeling of calm and relaxation. And as you exhale, just release all of the tension around your eyelids. Feel any tension melt away. Feel that tension leave your body as you breathe out. And when you breathe back in again, breathe in deeper than you normally would. Breathing in a wonderful feeling of calm, resourceful relaxation. And as you exhale, just release any tension. Elongate the outward breath as you scan your body for any clues of tension, perhaps in your forehead, neck or shoulders, maybe your jaw. And as you breathe in that resourceful feeling of calm and relaxation, just decide that right here, right now, you don't need that tension. Allow it to dissolve, dissipate. Feel like it's melting away and leaving your body in that outward breath. That's it. The deeper you breathe, the deeper relaxed you become. And the deeper relaxed you become, the more your mind awakens. And I want you to use the power of your imagination to imagine a time from your past, a time when you felt safe and secure, even when traveling. Maybe a time where you were sleeping on your own in a hotel. Maybe accommodation which had no security, had no panic button, had no dogs. And I want you to observe how that younger version of you was able to feel so relaxed in the evenings, to sleep well. In fact, I want you to observe as your head touches the pillow, and within minutes you're drifting off into a deep, relaxing, rejuvenating sleep. And I want you to take on the perspective of that younger version of you. Almost feel like you're back in that body, awakening those neural pathways. The neural pathways that meant that you were making the evaluation that your resources exceed any demands or threats. You were able to go with the flow, to sleep well, even in strange or unusual circumstances. I want you to recall those times that you slept so well anyway, and just feel that that is exactly what you're activating again. As you breathe in and breathe out, feel like you're drifting into a dreamlike sleep. a dreamlike sleep, perhaps of that version of you that could sleep anywhere. And I want you to think of perhaps the least safe place you've ever slept well. Imagine being back in that bed, feeling so calm, so relaxed, drifting off into a dreamlike sleep, reactivating that part of your subconscious mind that feels that it can keep you slave based on your reactions to real threats, not potential threats. So breathe in and breathe out. As you come to the conclusion that how safe you feel is not based on reality, it's based on perception. When you perceive yourself to be safe, you feel safe. As you can entertain the possibility that there is someone living there in the world, in the safest neighborhood, in the safest home, with all modern security systems, detectors, and yet still doesn't feel safe. And you could imagine someone living in a war zone, in an environment where there isn't even a lock on the door, and yet they're sleeping like a baby. And when you come to the conclusion that you can sleep well just by evaluating that you are safe, let me know by nodding your head. So breathe in that feeling of resourceful relaxation, exhaling any tension. And I want you to try a thought experiment. I want you to imagine you're in your own home, and there are no locks on the doors, no security system, no other people in the home, no phone and no dogs, just you. And I want you to make the evaluation that you are safe, that you can sleep well and nothing will happen at all. Just imagine getting ready to sleep, making that evaluation that you are safe and secure, and drifting off for one of the best sleeps you've ever had in your life. And then imagine the following night you do the same thing, but this time just decide to lock the doors. And by locking the doors, I want you to feel just a bit safer than you did before, and notice that you can sleep even better than that previous night. You wake up feeling refreshed, feeling relaxed, feeling calm. And on this night, you lock the doors and notice that you have a fully charged phone with a signal, meaning that in the unlikely event that anything happened, you could call for help instantly. And as you make that evaluation, you make the evaluation that you are not alone. You are only 10 seconds away from hearing a recognizable voice whenever you need it. Because you make the evaluation that you are not alone, you feel even safer, even more relaxed, as you imagine drifting off into a peaceful, relaxing sleep. Perhaps you could imagine waking up the next day, maybe checking your sleep tracker, seeing the quality of sleep that you achieved, maybe noticing a number with a crown on top, just to let you know how well you've slept. And then imagine that very next evening, you make an additional evaluation. That you are not alone because there are animals in your home with you. Picture perhaps your dogs. Knowing that you now have additional eyes and ears in the same home. A locked door and a working phone. And because of that, you couldn't possibly feel alone because you are not alone. Imagine drifting off to sleep, even deeper than the night before, because you're making the evaluation, consciously or subconsciously, you are not alone. The working phone means you're not alone. The dogs in the home means you're not alone. And you sleep so well. Then imagine waking up the next day, seeing that sleep score of incredible sleep, but not restless sleep, deep, quality sleep. Even your dreams were light and fun. But on this next evening, make yet another evaluation that you can lock the doors, have a working phone, there are dogs in the home. But I also want you to make the evaluation there is another person, maybe your daughter, that these are additional eyes and ears, that if anything was to happen you could be alerted quickly. And because there is another person, doesn't it make it impossible to feel that you're alone when you're in a home with another person, perhaps two dogs, a working phone that means you can call anyone if you needed to, and locked doors? And as you make that evaluation, just imagine getting ready to sleep, feeling so comfortable. Perhaps thinking of times in the past where you've slept in much less secure places and slept perfectly anyway. Imagine drifting off to that quality, rejuvenating sleep. That's it. And then imagine waking the following day. It's still you in your home, but on that night, imagine locking the doors, checking you have a working phone, feeding the dogs and making the evaluation that they're also going to be there in that home on that evening. Maybe seeing another person, but also activating a security system. You now have the eyes and ears of your dogs, another person, your own intuition, locked doors, a working phone, and all of those digital sensors connected to the security system. All the doors, all the windows have sensors to immediately alert you of any danger. Not that there will be, but just in case. And when you make that evaluation, it becomes even easier to make the evaluation that you are safe and secure. That you don't need any of these things, but the fact that it's there gives you a sense of reassurance and calm. In fact, you can make that evaluation. You don't need any of these things, but the fact that they are there helps you feel reassured. So have that reassuring night's sleep, much deeper than ever before. So relaxed, so calm, so safe, drifting off into that deep, deep sleep. Imagine waking up the following day, knowing that you've had 4 or 5 great nights' sleep, some of the best night's sleep of your life. Making the evaluation that there are some people that sleep well without locked doors, a working phone, dogs in the home, or a security system, and they sleep well anyway. If they can, so can you. And then on that final night's sleep, make just one more evaluation. As you lock the doors, check the phone is charged, see the dogs are there, alert. Notice that security system activated, but also, in the event of an emergency, notice there is a panic button. Kind of panic button that would immediately call the police, the security company immediately. And I want you to feel that you will never ever need to use this, but it's just there should you need to. And as you make that evaluation, knowing that none of this is necessary, but all of it could be useful in rare circumstances, feel that you can drift off to sleep even better than before. Breathe in through your nose and out through your nose, feeling like you're just enjoying incredibly good sleep. And feeling that you can activate this feeling of you're not sleeping alone. All of the people that work at the security company, the dogs, perhaps anyone that you could call at the end of that working phone, means that even if you are the only one in your home, you are not sleeping alone. You have the protection, the resources of people and animals to keep you safe. And if you feel that you can activate this feeling of safety just by making these evaluations, let me know by nodding your head. That's it. And then imagine that bed from your younger years. Just imagine awakening from that dreamlike sleep, making the evaluation that you weren't 100% safe back then and you slept well anyway, but that means that you can sleep well anyway, particularly when you evaluate that you are safe. So take all of those thoughts and resources and feel like you're returning to the present moment as you breathe in through your nose and out through your nose. Shortly I will count to 10 and you will return to the present feeling refreshed, safe, optimistic and resourceful. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.
Thank you for listening to The Hypnotist with Adam Cox, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. To automatically receive the latest episodes, please subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, please share this episode with just one friend you think it could help. And if this episode helped you, please leave us a 5-star review.